When I was growing up, a hoodie with a stash pocket was where it's at. And the Scotty Vest hoodies and jackets have anywhere from 2 to 42 stash pockets per garment. I'm talking about pockets small enough for a diamond ring or AirPods, and I'm talking about pockets big enough for an iPad or a full-size Moleskine notebook. There's pockets for glasses, pockets for phones, pockets for clothing, pockets for everything. Scotty Vest hoodies and jackets are TSA approved and ergonomically constructed to distribute the weight of all your gear throughout your torso so it doesn't hurt your back like carrying a heavy backpack. A Scotty Vest hoodie or jacket could even conceivably replace a purse or backpack on a flight in its entirety. I love these sweatshirts. They are the coolest and they help keep me and my stuff together without having to carry extra bags when I travel. Hit the link in the description and use code TIRE15 at checkout for 15% off your entire purchase at Scotty Vest. Now, enjoy this video. Hey folks, welcome to the Canyons. Zach and I are doing actually a double header today, which in case you're like, why are you wearing the same stuff you were wearing in the other video? This is why. This is real cool. I've been waiting for this one for a minute. This is the Taycan Cross Turismo. I like to call it the Taycan Outback. I mean, that's pretty much what we have. They have Outbackified the Taycan. They have given it some body cladding.
Right.
They have given it a lift, some spats, and they've made it into a wagon from a hatchback. So there's a lot to go over. They've changed a lot. We are going to assume that you know about the regular standard Taycan from this point on.
We've made how many videos on that?
We've made multiple Taycan videos. Right. I really recommend you go check at least one of them out and get the overall vibe of the Taycan, which is that it's Porsche's electric sedan.
Yes.
And it's the Porsche of electric vehicles and not the electric vehicle of Porsches. Right. The Taycan Cross Turismo, according to their PR guy, is the most customizable Porsche ever. The biggest spread of options, ranges, colors, wheels, interiors, materials, most customizable ever, which says a lot for Porsche. All of the Cross Turismos are like, the wagon part and the lifted part, they go together.
Right.
You can't get a lifted sedan, and you can't get a wagon in the standard car, right? It has unique front and rear fascias, a unique rear diffuser, and unique side skirts. And there's an optional off-road design package, which makes the cladding on the outside gray plastic and not paint to match like we've got on this example here.
Right.
You can get it in a 4, a 4S, a Turbo, and a Turbo S. They've given us a Turbo, which doesn't make a lot of sense.
They give us the fastest off-road electric wagon they make. Second fastest, actually. And it's insane.
There's specific wheel designs for Taycan. There are optional roof rails, which this one actually has a glass roof and no roof rails. Which
so I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we just did the presentation half an hour ago. In Germany, you can order it with or without the roof rails. So if you don't get the roof rails, you get this wider pane of glass. In America, all the cars will come with that capability to have the roof rails.
But the rails are optional. Glass is standard.
Right.
In Germany, glass is also optional. A lot more cargo space than the sedan. The sedan has a pretty small trunk for what it is. This has a nice big hatchback with plenty of lashes to tie stuff down, some elastic straps to hold things.
Big pockets on the sides. Yeah. It can hold like gallons of milk.
It's nice. And the wagon body style comes with quite a lot more rear seat headroom. I can't quite fit behind, quote, myself, but I could fit behind someone who's an inch or two shorter than me, which is a big improvement over the sedan.
Absolutely.
I was not getting in the back of the sedan, and now I can. Let's see. All Cross Turismos have a 20 millimeter ride height than the regular sedans. Okay, height adjustable, just like the sedans, goes up and down depending on drive mode and depending on speed. But at any mode, Cross Turismo versus sedan, the Cross Turismo will be 20 millimeters higher.
Right.
Okay, medium for medium.
Right.
Now, if you get the off-road pack, it programs the car to start in high mode. So medium for medium would still be the same, but your default is actually high. So if you get the off-road package, it will sit a little higher. Okay. You also get a gravel mode, which reprograms all the systems to be optimized for gravel and loose surface driving.
Right. So it kind of dulls down the throttle response a little bit for like the first 20% of the pedal travel. So if you're going on a bumpy road, you're not sitting there hitting this, full torque motor from 0 RPM. And it can also kind of do an impression of a center locking diff. Locks them together, sort of does an impression of that. So
it fakes it.
Yeah, it fakes it.
So we're going to go into drive mode. We're going to turn our drive mode wheel into Sport Plus, which I can now feel the car lowering on its lowest suspension setting. It's got air suspension. And Mobbity Mobski?
Yeah, let's do it. Oh my God. I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't ready for that.
We're to 60, still in the 2s. One thing I feel right away, that it's taller. I felt in all the regular Taycans like I was sitting in a Cayman. Nice down low, sitting really below the wheel arches almost. In this one, even though we've dialed it into its lowest setting, I can really tell that it's taller.
I think the glass roof also adds to that. It feels airier in here, like more visibility. And the Taycan sedans I was in, you just felt like you were in this low, hunkered down kind of bunker of speed.
21-inch wheels on this guy with actually 35 series tires. It's not like they give you some big balloony tire. The wheels and tires on this, although the design is different, are fundamentally the same as the sedan. This one has Pilot Sport 4S's on it.
Yeah, and you
Still
can get
fast.
A bunch of different wheel options, different tire options.
Different brake options.
That's right.
Different brakes on
options.
Taycan. This one has the whites. The whites are painted white so that they emphasize the fact that they make very little brake dust. They stay clean.
Right, they have like a different coating on the brake disc, right?
Yeah. Now, aside from the height and the sort of general sensation that I can't take corners quite as fast because of that, the way the car moves on the suspension, the way it absorbs shock and stuff like that is pretty similar. I'm feeling that because it's taller, the limits are going to be a little lower,
Very slightly lower. But right back there, you could feel the back one, it was just leaning on the back tire. So dynamically, it's very similar. I mean, this is the whole thing behind safari cars, right?
It's so fast.
Oh my God, it's
so fast, and because you don't have the sound, you don't have gear changes, you could very easily enter a corner in this 50 to 60 miles an hour.
Yeah, you need to be very good at reading how quickly you are heading into a corner.
Yes.
You cannot rely on a speedometer.
Yeah, because, this thing with overboost is like 670 horsepower and over 600 pounds of torque, and the combination of that and the lifted height seems a little silly. But the way it gathers speed is just so crazy.
Can you imagine driving this in the snow or the dirt, though, with like a good tire on it? It would be so good.
Rocks. I mean, the last one of these I drove had regular brakes. The base model had the regular brakes, and it was still so fast I set those brakes on fire. I did not set the ceramics on fire on the Turbo S, but I feel like it was fast enough that if I went hard enough, I could have.
I wonder if, let's see. So
I
have my own
the
screen in
co-driver
front of me.
display happening.
Yeah, so I have a G meter right now. It says we're in Sport Plus, and then no navigation because this is a German spec car. And I have a speedometer.
Mobbing.
Yeah, so I can see exactly what we're doing.
Super mobbing.
And this is why this screen will let me control things like nav and music and whatnot. So I have full control over the center screen so that the driver can do what they're doing, which is drive very quickly and not have to be distracted when they want to change the track.
That just, like, I almost for a second was like, oh, I might not make this corner. Like, I did, obviously, but it gathers speed at a pace that a normal driver literally cannot keep up with. It does it so effortlessly that I get lost in the pace.
This has more power than the McLaren 620R that we drove yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Or 2 days ago. And that is a car that if you sold to a person, you'd want them to have some kind of experience driving performance vehicles.
Right.
And this is this luxurious electric sedan. Same thing with Model S's. All these electric cars that come with huge power and torque, and people just buy them like luxury vehicles.
Well, when you fire up a McLaren 620R in your garage, and it wakes the neighborhood, and you climb into that uncomfortable carbon bucket, you know the mission. You know, people's questions about cars like that, when they ask them, are they scary? You know, are they intimidating? But in this, with this like gentian blue exterior, cooled seats,
gold
dead
accents
silent
on the vents.
Yeah, like the anodized rose gold accents. This is like, you don't immediately get in this and go, I could enter a corner at 60 miles an hour too fast in this. But you could.
When you get in McLaren, you feel like you're going to a bar that has a bad reputation. You're ready for a fight. And in this, it surprises you.
Then the other, when I drove this on the highway over here, in my 20-mile transit, it was so quiet and smooth. I mean, no tire noise, no wind noise. You stand on the pedal and it just hammer it.
I had to get you.
You got to distract someone.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it on 1 and 3.
Exactly.
Yeah. We're not going to talk about range today because we're mobbing, and we'll do range a different day. Porsche admits that you can expect a little bit less range for your lifted wagon with heavier tires.
Yeah, and I read on their site that Turbo also gets a little bit less range than the other models, which just probably because they're carrying a little bit more weight. I don't know.
So can you feel the height?
I can feel the height. It's really interesting. Like, really immediately feel where that roll center is. Like, we're a little bit taller. I feel like I'm just sitting up a little bit, and the view is a little different. But like a good safari car, it's still responsive. The steering is still really quick.
Yeah,
it still has feedback, and the car, it just feels like it's going to do the things the old car did, just a little bit higher off the ground, which is
That's
great.
kind of how my 911 feels. Like, it'll still get around a corner. It's just like the limits are a little lower. It gets a little loosey-goosey when you get to those limits.
Right.
Like, this feels a little looser than the other car, and that's like, okay. The limits are still crazy high.
Yeah, I mean, the brilliance of the safari vehicles is you get the dynamics of a sports car, and then you get a little bit of the capability of an off-road car. And so, yes, it's gonna lean over a little bit more because it's sitting higher, and your center of gravity is a little bit higher, but you're gonna be feeling the same things. You're gonna be feeling like that same polar moment of inertia. It's a great setup.
This thing really looks good.
This makes the Taycan a much more usable vehicle, in my opinion. Like,
the regular one was like an electric Cayman almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because that back seat was so small, and the trunk was so small. It just didn't have a usability. This is like only car level of usability.
I mean, it's just, it's a super fast wagon with a little more ground clearance. Maybe I'll just turn around.
Or we can just pause. You can just pause here
because we can pull into any turnout because we have extra ground clearance.
Let's go into high mode.
Let's go into high mode.
Are we in? Oh, you're in low mode still.
Oh, probably because I was going fast.
Yeah.
The cargo space measurement was interesting. They say that Germany says this only has 1.3 cubic feet of increased cargo volume, but that's because they don't measure above the seat.
We learned that the Germans stopped measuring at the window line. So that's why a German...
That's like if we stopped measuring our height at, like, nipples. Like, that was just the rule.
That's why the Germans can do all the slopey back SUVs, and they say it doesn't take away the cargo capacity, because they don't count blocking your windows.
It's a bit of capability. An omission's not a lie.
All right. I think this road is clear. Clear on the right. Clear on the right. Turning radius of Taycans is good.
Very good.
When you don't have a motor up front, you can put lots of angle.
Wow, very good.
Space, Jetsons, noises are fun.
This is a very fun thing to drive.
It is.
This is a fun, practical thing. People are going to drive it to their very nice houses in the snow, and they'll have a little bit more ground clearance. Because having a sports car, even with really good tires in the snow, having high-centered a WRX once, you would like a couple of extra inches. It's very important.
By the way, we asked Porsche
Lord.
we asked Porsche if we could gravel road this car, and they asked us kindly not to because a lot of people have to drive it after us, and they will send us a US spec car that we can do other things with later. So, sorry if you wanted to see us drive on dirt, and we're not doing that today, but we're trying not to destroy a car that other journalists need to drive.
This is quite a thing.
Super fast.
This is quite a thing.
Yeah.
This does... If they make a drift mode in this, which they eventually will, I'm sure, and because all of these cars, all the Cross Turismos come with all-wheel drive. You can't get a two-wheel drive version.
That kind of bums me out, that there isn't like a selectable two-wheel drive or something, because it seems like it would be fun, but I understand.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to get the ground clearance, then it's because you want the car that can go in more places.
Right.
So,
and the real value, according to Porsche, which I actually believe, and not according to Porsche, but according to like our dude at Porsche, who's extremely cool.
Yes.
The real value is the Cross Turismo 4.
Right.
Which comes with the bigger battery, 4-wheel drive, the wagon, all-wheel drive, the wagon body, air suspension, and a bunch of things that you don't get on the base sedan. Like, you get 20 grand worth of stuff for 10 grand,
right?
Basically,
you get like Porsche traction management, and it starts at $90,000,
right?
So it's the second cheapest Cross Turismo, but it comes with like the all-wheel drive system is definitely worth the money. And I think he said if you spec them out car for car, sedan versus Cross Turismo, the difference is like $1,400.
Yeah, it's not
so
much.
All the things you're getting are well worth more than $1,400.
I agree. So shout out to Porsche. Thank you for letting us have a go. It's just a first drive impression, but obviously we're into it. It's really, really cool. I'd really like to take one for a week and see what it's like to live with. I'm sure it would be horrible. I'm sure it'd be the worst car ever to live with. And thank you to you for watching, and like and subscribe, listen to our podcast, all those things. Thanks very much. See you. And remember, always fight your tickets. Use code TST10 on the Off the Record app available in the Android and iOS store, or go to offtherecord.com/TST.